What's going on, guys? My name is Kalisha. This is the playlist, and I'm here with the one, the only Dreebo.
What's up? What's up? How you doing?
West Coast in the building. How you feeling?
We in the building, man.
Yes,
I'm
man.
feeling good. Appreciate you for having me.
Of course, he was firing through a little bit of traffic.
Yeah, you
Getting
know
down
how
here.
LA get. LA get it's traffic everywhere.
Insane. We were
Every
just
right turn take 20 minutes.
we were talking as we were going up the elevator. I'm like, in the line of work that we do, we're not always like thinking about traffic,
Times.
people getting off work,
For sure.
traffic hour, traffic jam, but LA has the worst traffic.
It does. It really.
The
That's the one
worst.
thing where it's just like I don't think I ever get like cool with that.
Yeah.
But I did used to like go in traffic on purpose when I first was out here like driving heavy, just like on some practice my patience type
Yeah.
shit. But
Yeah.
now I'm over it.
Yeah, no. I think kind of like around the way in different states traffic is starting to get a little worse. Like it used to be LA had the worst traffic, but I know Atlanta does now.
Sure. The
Like,
Bay is crucial. now,
Yeah.
too. The Bay got crazy traffic now,
Yeah, I'm
which is
good.
surprising.
I'm good. No, thank you.
Yeah.
I like working from home and
No,
having to
for
come into
sure.
the studio whenever I have to. I don't know. Can you see yourself ever, if music, you were never doing music, what kind of 9 to 5 job would you do?
Damn, that's a good one. That's a good one. I mean, I did work a 9 to 5 before.
Uh-huh.
I was doing like kind of like it was like tedious work, but I probably would be like engineer.
Okay. What kind of
Yeah,
engineer?
Like coding and shit.
Okay.
Cause I'm kind of be into tech and computer
Yeah.
stuff, so I probably would have dove into
All
that.
right.
Went to a little boot camp or
All
something.
right. I feel like once upon a time, back in MySpace days, we were all coders.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly. For real though, designing our little page, and the songs and everything. So I feel like I would have fell into that.
Exactly. I feel like if it was around long enough, like longer than it was, I would have been like really good at that.
Especially if we would have known what we was doing. Like we was just doing it because that was what we was doing in that era, but we didn't really know exactly what we was doing.
Exactly. So tell me your musical journey. Like, where did it begin?
Man, so music for me started when I was in college. I was playing football. I was in Pittsburgh, Kansas.
Okay.
And really it started literally in like a closet. Me and the homies, we was just bored. We got on GarageBand.
Garage band.
Yeah, I got the
wow.
little iPhone earphone with the mic, and we just was having fun, really. And it just started off fun, and I liked it. And then I just, kept doing it in free time. Kept doing it. By the time I wasn't playing football no more, I had injuries, like 4 surgeries in 5 years, and my body said no,
Yeah.
And then I realized I really liked music, so I just kept following that interest.
Yeah.
And then kept doing music, and it led me to where I am now.
I hear in your music when I listen to it, I hear a heavy like West Coast vibe,
For
West
sure.
Coast influence,
sure.
like back in the day, the Snoop, the Dr. Dre's.
For sure.
I hear that type of influence. Is that where you've gotten most of your influence from?
A lot
or-
of it, for sure. Like I feel like that's where my core comes from, but my mom is a big like musical influence on me because she used to just be super diverse in what she listened to. So she going from Snoop Dogg to Nate Dogg to Tupac to Bob Marley to
Okay.
Music Soul Child to Aretha Franklin. So I kind of just had a wide range.
Yeah.
But Nate Dogg, super big influence. Snoop Dogg, the whole West Coast, like just in general. I mean, I grew up in LA, so it
Yep.
was like
I
it's in me.
definitely I definitely get that from your music 100%. I love that you stay true to your roots. Like
Definitely.
I
Appreciate
love that because I feel like, with music changing so much from what it used to be to now, and
For
then
sure.
there's so many artists out there these days, so many artists, and I feel like a lot of times, some of the newer artists, they kind of get away from their roots, and
For sure.
they get away from staying true to who they are, and they're like, well, I hear this artist from over here, and they there's too much influence, and you're like, okay, what is your sound for real?
Yeah.
But your sound is very clear, and it makes sense. I get
Definitely.
it. Right away I'm like, okay, this West Coast, this real West
100%,
Coast. Okay.
100%.
I know something that a lot of your fans and people out there probably don't know, and I know it was a pretty big moment for you too. So you were promoting yourself online,
Yeah.
doing your own thing, and you had someone really cool reach out to you. Super, super cool.
Yeah.
You know,
definitely.
someone really cool reach out to you. I'm gonna let you talk about that and tell me how that happened.
Yeah, you know it's crazy. And this is one thing. If you're an independent artist, run some ads on your shit. 'Cause I was actually running an ad on one of my records, STFU, that's doing pretty well. Has that West Coast vibe. A lot of people say I sound like Nate Dogg on it, which I'll take. I was running an ad on that, and he came across the ad.
Yeah.
And then he just followed me and hit me up. And then I'm like, yo, what's up? We'll tap it in. We started chopping it up, you know. And then maybe like a few weeks later, we got in the lab and made a lot of dope music. Actually made the first song I ever made with him. Talking about the homie Keon.
Yes, shout out Keon. What up?
Shout out. The first song I ever made with him is Anxiety, which is on this project.
Yes, and I heard it. Super dope. And Keon is an amazing,
for sure,
amazing
super
producer.
high-level producer, for
high
sure.
level. But it didn't come overnight. His high level producing didn't come overnight. He's told me, you know, we're friends, we're cool. That his uncle. For those that don't know who we're talking about, Keon is an amazing producer, super talented.
For sure.
Acting nowadays. Just has a film came out with
the other day. I went to the screening with him.
Avion Crockett, but his uncle is Dr. Dre. So Dr. Dre's nephew is also producing. But back in his days, his uncle's like, this shit sucks. Like, I'm gonna let you know right now. Like, this shit is trash. Yeah, like, this shit is motherfucking trash. Go back, work on it. And Keon, literally, even though he has that relationship, you know, that's his relative, it wasn't that easy. It didn't come that easy. So when he reached out to you, I know, and you showed up to where you showed up to, you probably didn't even know where you were going.
I definitely did. It was kind of crazy. I'm like, at first, because he just like pull up. It was random too. Because I want to say, at first we went to the rec, which I think I've been there like one time before through the homie Q. But we went over there, and then like literally he just like, hey, what you on today? And I just happened to not be doing nothing. I was leaving the restaurant, and I'm like, all right, I ain't doing nothing. What's up? And he like, pull up on me. I'm gonna be in the lab. And I'm like, all right. Now I pull up. It's like long ass roads, gates on gates. I'm like, hold on, where I'm going right now? But at the time, I didn't really know his whole situation too. I was just like connecting with the homie who I thought had some dope production and stuff, and we worked. We linked once. The chemistry was good, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna pull up on you again.
Super generous. Same thing happened to me. Like, we became friends organically, met out and about. Hey, what you doing? Pull up. You know, Super Bowl party. Let's watch a thing. And I'm like, man, like, where the hell am I going? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, so it was crazy. It was a good session though. You know, we ended up making 2 songs that night. Dre actually ended up coming in, so I was able to meet him. What was that like,
meeting Dr. Dre?
I wish it was better, honestly, because it was like we was working. Shout out to Truce too. Truce was in there cooking, and Truce and Keon, they was cooking up this beat, and I just heard the beat as they were cooking. You know, usually when I hear beats and I like them, I just start writing. So I was in the midst of me just writing, and I was so locked in that he just like came in, and it was just like so. I was locked in though, so I'm like, "What's up? Nice to meet you." And then I'm back writing. I'm like, "Damn, I wish I would have like." Took more of that moment, but I was so locked in on what I was writing. I ain't gonna lie to that.
This is your life. Can you believe this is your life right now?
Yeah.
Like, can you believe it?
Nah, I never would have thought I would have ever met Dr. Dre, especially the way it happened.
Right.
In that setting, I was like, whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah. But that's dope that you got to connect with Keon, someone that really gets your sound,
for sure,
gets your music. The chemistry is dope.
100%.
What was it like working with him, like in the studio? What? Tell me a day in the studio with Keon. Yeah, he's funny. He's crazy. He's wild.
For sure. Energy.
Yes.
We gonna start there. Definitely a lot of energy. But I think he's really good at what he do, you know what I mean? So he's like me a lot, where we there and we lock in. So when we got in, even the first time, it was just like pull up, he start cooking, I start riding, boom, and then we got something. And then we running with that, we building with that. One thing I did, I feel like he unlocked in me that I definitely want to give him credit for is just like my harmonies and different layers underneath what I do. Like I always did that, but he brought it out in like another way. Yeah. Working with him, just kind of the way his mind works and where he fits stuff into a record.
I could definitely see that for sure, because he actually helped me with like my voiceover audition stuff. Yeah. So I can definitely see, like, he hears those pockets.
His ears work different for sure.
Real different.
And it makes sense though too, because it's just what he's around. I'm sure like even when he wasn't wasn't in it, he was soaking up game just being around it. And then he's a workaholic like me, so he in the lab when he finds something that can work, he putting it to work.
Exactly. So talk about some of the other records on the project, The Lobby, that is coming out very soon exclusively. It already dropped. Tell them where it already dropped.
So it's already out on Even exclusively. If you want to buy the art from the artist, me directly. Even.biz. You can search The Lobby. It's out there, and it'll be on all platforms next Friday, March 29th.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
how exciting! So talk about some of the other records on the project and the other producers that you work with and how that all came about.
Yeah, so starting with the first record, The Game. Shout out to homie Aaron Sumlin.
What up?
My boy out of Ohio, super dope artist and producer. Worked with him a few different times. The second record was produced by the Fisticuffs. They actually did 2 records. They did The One and The Energy. They're super dope. I just recently started working with them. Those were actually the 2 records we first made too, same way, like good chemistry. Just they did a lot of stuff for Miguel and Janae Aiko coming up. So they're super dope, like musicians and producers as well. And then the Census actually produced the beat, the same ones who produced STFU, one of my biggest records. Yeah, so they did that. I got them on the project. And then the homie Raymond Marco.
How did you decide what records made it and which ones didn't?
Man, that's always the tough part. To be honest, this project, so the whole story of The Lobby was like in 2018 I had a project that I dropped called Everybody Loves Dreebo. And I dropped The Lobby, the first Lobby, because this is technically The Lobby 2.
All right.
And I dropped the first Lobby as like a while you wait. That's the whole concept of the lobby. You in the lobby while you wait.
I like that concept.
For the full length project. So I was working on this project called The Cheat Code, which is coming in June. And I wanted to do it again, the same whole lobby concept. So I had a bunch of music that I was working on, and what happened was the music that's on this didn't sonically really fit the Cheat Code album. And so in the midst of me putting together my full length album, I was eliminating songs and putting songs together that made more sense. And then, you know, kind of came down to these 6 that I felt like would be a good lobby into you know, the next project. You know?
I like that. So based from what I grasped from that, the full length project you're putting out in June is gonna sound completely different, a little bit different.
It's gonna be same core wise, but it's gonna be a little different. Because that one is mainly produced by the Census, who did Shut the Fuck Up.
All right.
So it's gonna be a little bit more on that summery, bouncy side, but it is gonna go in a couple other directions. But it's also gonna be the sequencing of it and how it flows is gonna be a little different.
That part, I like that. All right, so let's take it back a little bit. In 2021, you know, kind of, I feel like 2021 is still kind of pandemic-y, right?
Yeah, I was literally, like right after. I guess we were still in it.
Pandemic-y a little, you know. I feel like just this year, maybe half of last year, but just this year we're kind of getting back to normal life and things feeling normal. But you dropped 365 songs in 2021. How the hell? Like, tell me, like, how?
Everybody always asks you that. First, I was organized. That's the first thing.
Like, how do you line it up to make sure it drops on that exact day?
That's crazy because I actually literally had a spreadsheet. And in the beginning, I was doing I had like a month of music ready before the month started. Then, you know, life happens, things happen, and it ended up catching up to me. And then by like May, I was making songs just every day. And it was just every day. And so what happened was I would drop it on SoundCloud and then push it through all platforms as well. But
were you tired?
Yeah,
being in the studio that
like
much?
2022, I had to be a normal person.
Yeah,
I was like, I like because everything around me sacrificed when I did that. You know, it was a great feat. I'm proud of myself. I'm glad I did it. But after doing it, I realized how much everything from like family, friends, life, you know what I mean? I was just so locked in. There was a lot of things I missed that year, a lot of things I just couldn't be at. There was a lot of things I wasn't present for that I wish I would have been. And
did you lose some friends in that period of time?
I didn't really lose any friends, but I just, you know, wasn't as good of a friend as I would have liked to be, or I wasn't as good of a husband as I would have liked to be, or as good of a son or a brother, you know what I mean?
Missing out on
But it was also like the people closest to me and the people around me, they understood,
right?
Because they understood what I was doing and how big it was.
Is that when you recorded Shut the Fuck Up?
Yeah, so Shut the Fuck Up was the 4th song I dropped. So January 4th, 2021, I dropped that record.
And it all made sense.
Yeah, and then it started picking up steam by February. Ashley Amani, shout out to Ashley Amani. She just skated at the Super Bowl with Usher. She skated to it.
Wow.
And then it just started going.
It went crazy from
Yeah,
there.
it started
That's
going.
dope.
And then honestly, it's crazy though, because last year it had its best year, and that was 2 years later.
And that's how it goes.
Yeah,
man.
you just gotta keep pushing it.
That's
so I just
how
be pushing
goes.
it.
I'll never forget this story, and I'll tell it forever. One of the producers that worked with DJ Mustard with Ella May in the way begins like 2015. Okay, it was like, pull up to the studio. I was, working at Power 106 at the time. Pull up to the studio. I want to play you this project, this artist, this new artist that DJ Mustard's working with. I was like, all right, cool. Turned out to be Ella May. All right. Years later, Boot Up just blew up.
And you heard it in that studio, huh?
I heard it in
That's
that studio.
crazy.
And they were still working on mixing it and mastering it and all of that.
Yeah.
And that's just how it is these days. Like
It
the
really
internet,
is.
nothing's old anymore.
100%.
Music doesn't get old anymore. You
At
know,
all.
just because this group of people heard your music, the other group probably hasn't. It's
For
new to
real.
them.
And when you think about so many people that's in the world, it's just like, even if you got 1 million plays,
Yep.
it's still like so many
Yep.
more plays to get.
Yep, exactly. Can keep going and going and going and going.
Sure.
And different people listen to music from different platforms too.
100%.
It can go crazy on Spotify, but then it can go even crazier on Apple Music,
Sure.
or crazier on Tidal, or wherever people listen to the music.
100%.
Like it's insane. It's insane the way people listen to music these days. It could blow up on TikTok before it'll blow up on your
anything.
own DSPs.
Yeah.
How do you feel about TikTok possibly going away?
I mean, honestly, I ain't tripping because I ain't really like. My dog went more viral than me on TikTok. I've been trying ever since. I made like a couple videos of my dog. It went viral. I got like 5,000 followers, and as soon as I start posting my music, nothing happened.
Right, your audience is like, where your dog at?
Yeah, exactly. So then I show the dog, and then it's like, all right. So I just
my
be showing the
God.
dog sometimes.
That's
But
funny.
TikTok is cool. I think it's one of those few platforms that are even similar to like YouTube, where kind of the pop ups, like
Yeah.
it's easy to get kind of organic views.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah. So I feel like you've done so many cool things in your life. You work with Larry June too,
Yeah.
and E-40 and
Yeah.
DJ Fresh. Talk
Yeah.
about like how you met them and what capacity y'all work together.
Yeah. So I actually met DJ Fresh through his manager. Met him like a couple years prior to actually working with him. Larry June, we did a record together in like 2018, I think. 2018, I think we did.
So
a
you was
record.
onto him early on.
Yeah, for sure.
That was when he was still growing.
I spent a lot of time in the Bay.
Yeah.
Early on, so I kind of knew who he was already. And then shout out to homie Doe Networks. He connected us for a song called Organic Pimpin'.
Okay, I like that. Organic Pimpin'.
Yeah,
It's an
so-
interesting name.
Yeah, I know. So
Organically started.
we connected for that record, and then fast forward years later, DJ Fresh manager was looking for a hook on a record that he had with Fresh and E-40. And I was actually traveling to London at the time. And crazy story is like, I usually don't really travel with my equipment, but I was like, I was gonna go to London for 2 weeks, and I'm like, all right, I should just take it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see if I get inspired in the hotel room or something. So I just took it, and then he literally called me as I landed and was headed to the hotel.
Wow.
With actually trying to send in some hooks for that record, and then I sent
Something
in
told
2
you.
hooks. Yeah, I sent in 2 hooks. They ended up using the first one I did, and the rest was history. I think it dropped last February.
That's amazing.
E-40 Larry June.
How cool is that? Did you ever feel like you was gonna ever have a record with E-40?
Nah, that's like the Dr. Dre thing. I'm like,
Yeah.
especially starting out music, because I've been an athlete my whole life. So when I started doing music, I knew I was on to something, and I wasn't that good in the beginning, but I knew it was like, you got something, like
Yeah.
you got a little something. So,
God
but
is
I
on
could
your
have never
side.
predicted the different things that have happened to me.
Yeah.
Even just making a song and being on Damian Lillard's album.
I was just gonna bring that
yeah,
up. So I'm not a sports person, okay? So I heard his music first before I knew he was an athlete.
Oh, really?
I'm like, yo, he is dope. Like he is
sure.
dope as hell. So how did that connection happen?
That's another one where we're connected through mutual people. I know his cousin and kind of like creative director, the homie Brookfield Deuce. Shout out to Brookfield Deuce. We used to work together, like before I was even like fully pursuing music. We were working for this company in the Bay, and we both knew each other, did music, so we kind of just always stayed connected. And then I actually did this during the pandemic.
Wow.
During the pandemic, he called me looking for a hook for a Dame record. Dame had the verses already too, so I love when people ask me for hooks and the verses already there, because I could just build it around that. So then I built the hook around that, sent it back, and literally like this was a quick turnaround. It was like literally like a month later the song was out.
Wow.
And then he dropped the album the following year with like Blast and Wayne, all these different people on it, and then the song was on the album as well.
That's fire. So we just gonna keep going down the list. Schoolboy Q. You was in the studio with Schoolboy Q.
Yeah,
what?
Definitely being around that. We got we got a lot of mutuals. Q is somebody that I kind of knew before even he was kind of who he is. So just kind of watching his journey has been like super inspiring. Being in the studio with him is just being able to be, it's like I just be learning. Like a lot of times when I'm in the studio with him, I don't even be doing no music. I just be in there vibing, chilling with the homies and learning, just soaking up games. So that's definitely shaped a lot of the way I approach music. He's definitely inspired me in a lot of ways, and you know, having certain little conversations with him or being able to play him some music and get feedback. Like,
what kind of feedback has he given you? Like, be specific. Give us the goodies. I want to learn something.
One time, so shout out to homie Tiny.
Yes.
One time, me and the homie Tiny, we went over to his house, and I played him just a bunch of. This was early on too. This is probably like maybe like 5-6 years ago or something like
time
that.
Flies.
Yeah, it does. So this was when I wasn't even like as good as I am now. But he told me, like, I played him some records, and he was like, if you was trash, I'll tell you was trash. You know what I mean?
I need more people like that in my life.
Yeah, he like, you're not trash, but you definitely need to like find a different engineer to like craft your sound. And he was like, at the end of the day, like, if you really want this shit, you got to do it every day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's like, I'll be in the lab every day. And if you really want it, you got to do it every day.
And then you did it.
That conversation led to me doing 365. Literally, like, you know, a couple years later, I'm like, damn. Because like, even right after that, I was in the lab every day.
Yeah.
And then it led to, boy, when 365 came, like, I remember that conversation. Like, damn, you told me I got to do it every day if I really want this shit.
You got to do it. Do you see yourself doing another 365?
I'll be thinking about it.
365 challenge.
I didn't see myself, but recently I kind of been thinking about it. Just as my audience has grown and my brand is growing, I'm like, kind of would be a little bit even more epic if I did it at this stage.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You
it
never
could be
know.
like a cool little challenge.
Yeah, you never know. I might. Who knows?
You should. I think you should. I'll do like a little TikTok or reel to your video.
Because that's one thing I didn't do that I really wish I would have capitalized a little bit more. I do got a homie who did a lot of footage for me. So we do have like a documentary and a tuck that we just haven't officially put together. But I wish I would have gave a little bit more of the visual aspect to my 365. So that's kind of what be making me think about doing it again.
You gotta do it. So what else you got in the tuck? Like any cool features that you got coming?
I do got a record. I got a Shut the Fuck Up remix that's gonna be crazy. Yeah, I'm
excited for that.
I got that's gonna be crazy, and I got some really dope people on the album coming up, on the Cheat Code album.
All right.
Got my boy TF on there. I can
right.
say him. And then I got another one that's on the way. I ain't gonna say it just in case it don't come through.
Man, that happens all the time
You
in
know
the music industry.
You can't be too early. But then I'm also working on a project with Mike and Keys. I guess I could say that.
Well, that's fire.
Yeah, so shout out to Mike and Keys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, what up?
Working with them, so we're gonna see how that works out too. I think they're super dope. So it's like I feel like my sound and the melodic stuff that I do fits their production style. Super good.
Yeah, no, for sure. So looking back those 5-6 years and looking at yourself now, and you know, hearing the music and then just learning things like, you know, how the music industry works, the music business works, what do you think is one thing that you've learned that has really stuck with you and helped you grow, that you want to give back to artists watching?
I would say at the end of the day, it's about the music. Like, there's a lot of fluff out there, or there's a lot of experts out there who gonna tell you this, that, and the third. You need this, that, and third. Do this, that, and third. But like at the end of the day, it's about the music. No matter who you know, what you know, how viral you go, like it's about the music.
Yep.
If you want longevity,
Yep.
you know, if
Yep.
you want to be here forever, if you want to build a legacy, it's about the music.
And artists that are like I feel like a lot of artists sometimes are afraid to drop music, too much music, can't drop
Yeah.
too much music. But you're a perfect example of someone who's not afraid.
No,
You're
hell
not
no.
afraid to just drop music
Yeah.
every day. Some artists are afraid to drop music every month, but there's one point where you're dropping music every single day.
For sure.
Every single day.
Yeah.
So speaking to that, you think that was just kind of, I know you said you're thinking about doing it again, but speaking to those artists that are afraid to put music out, I'm not ready, I don't know if it's good, I don't
Yeah.
know, like, do you encourage them to just drop it, or what do you have to say about that?
I would encourage you to drop it with a plan, though. You know, have a plan with what you're dropping, and especially if you're independent, you can't afford not to drop it.
That part.
Like you can't, you know, we trying to reach as an independent artist, we trying to reach any and everybody as often as possible. And like we talked about earlier, there's so many people doing music, so
Yep.
many songs getting uploaded
Yep.
every day. So it's like you got to be able to have something to weed through the grass.
Earlier you were speaking on, you were running ads on that
Yeah.
record that got you a lot of recognition.
For
So
sure.
it sounds to me that you really understand, the power of marketing and, putting investments behind the music, not just being in the studio all the time.
Definitely.
Outside of just, investing into studio time and mixing and mastering, what's one area artists should invest into?
Into their own space. So like not having to book a studio and depend
Smart.
on that, because there's a thing I always tell people, like if you book a studio and you book it for 4 hours, by that third hour there's something subconscious in your mind like, damn, I only got an hour.
Yeah.
So you're not really creating freely. You know what I mean? You're like, damn, I
Yeah.
only got an hour, let me try to finish this up real quick, or this, that, and that. But if you have your own space, when you feel inspired, you can create, and there's no time limit to it. So that's one thing that I learned early on, was making sure I have a space where I can create at any time. And then also just picking up like things like production and engineering, like being able to record myself, even if I'm not going to mix it all the way, just
Right.
being able to record myself and knowing what to do to produce myself and make my beats, record myself. That way I don't necessarily have to depend on anybody.
Right.
'Cause early on I would depend on people and they didn't have the work ethic that I had.
Yeah.
So then I'm looking up and ready to record and there ain't no beats.
Yeah.
You know?
So I'm sure a lot of artists like, dang, that sounds good, but it's probably expensive to do that, right? They're probably like, I don't know if I could afford that. What a ballpark, you don't have to give an exact number out for those artists that's like, man, I wish I could do that. I want to do that. What does
Yeah.
something like that cost?
I mean,
To-
it
like,
could
just the
be free
basics
if you
stuff.
got a iPhone nowadays. Like people be recording on it. I got some two young homies. They make some dope music. They about
That's a
to
good
open up for
point.
me on my show June 20th. They gonna open up for me. But when I first started working with them, they was recording stuff on their phone.
What? Yeah, it's
You know, but
a lot.
I mean,
a lot of artists I'm hearing more and more actually do that. You're right.
yeah, you
You're
know.
right.
But if you really just want to get in, I mean, you can spend $500 get you a whole little setup, but
Yeah.
definitely under 1,000.
Yeah.
And then as you grow, because even me, my first interface was $200. My mic was like $199, and then I had a computer already. Logic was what, $299.
Yep.
It's like five something right there, you know.
go. And it's really saving money in the end.
for sure.
You're really saving a lot of money in the end after you add up and tally up all the time
Exactly.
you done spent in the studio and the money. Yeah.
Then as you grow, you just upgrade it, and then you get some credit, and then you be able to go do a little good upgrade.
Yeah.
You get 2 years, no interest. Just
Yep.
pay it off before them 2 years go.
There you
You
go.
good.
There you go. The power of credit cards,
For
right?
real
The
though,
power
you
of
just
credit
gotta be
cards.
disciplined.
Before we get up out of here, I want to talk about a couple more things that's really, really important and crucial, especially with where you're at, in your career, and a lot of developing artists and even mainstream artists.
For sure.
Their team.
Yeah.
Talk about the team, your team specifically.
That's a big piece that I feel like has finally really come together for me in a lot of ways. Shout out my guy AP. He does a lot of my engineering, as he did all the mixing on this album. He does production as well. He's a part of the producing duo that did Shut the Fuck Up, the Census. My boy Chris Motley,
Yes.
the homie Abe, and Mitch.
You got a big team.
Nah, not big, but we got kind of, we doing a little bit.
What role does everybody play?
So Abe, Mitch, the camera crew.
Okay.
You know what I mean? They're shooting all the visuals.
Okay.
My guy Chris Motley, he's like my do it all guy, the homie Motley. He's like my creative director. But really mainly on the visual side, that's where he really comes in super clutch. So a lot of my visuals stem from his ideas and then us kind of brainstorming and getting that right correctly. And then my guy AP is production side, and then the producers that I work with as well.
There you go. So you mentioned earlier, you said my wife. So you
yeah.
married. I love that. I love that you put that out there.
No, for sure.
But this industry comes with so many distractions, right? And the first thing that comes to mind is that the women are distraction, for the fella artists, and then for women artists, like the dudes are a distraction. But you probably have like different distractions that go on, because we all have distractions in our mind. We get anxiety, we 100%. Overwhelmed with social media. We're seeing this person doing that, this person doing this. Why is it not happening for me right now? Like, what's going on? So what would you say in your life right now could be a distraction to you, and how do you kind of like settle your mind?
Honestly, I feel like I'm very clear right now, and this is one of the better spaces that I've been in, because I had some distractions, and not necessarily distractions like they were hindering me, but it was just doing too much distractions, right? Like I'm a versatile individual. I have a lot of different talents, so sometimes I find myself doing too many things at once. So over this past year, going into 2024, I did a lot of just reflecting just on what I was doing and how it was aiding my end goal, which is music, because music is the number one for me. Like, I was doing a podcast with the homie, shout out to Congregation, my nigga Tiny. I was doing a podcast with the homie that I kind of had to stop, because it was just the time it was taken away from the end goal for me. It wasn't making sense being at the restaurant. Me and my family got a Jamaican restaurant.
Yeah, I gotta go up there. No, I gotta go. What's it called again?
Natural Art.
Oh yeah.
Natural Art Jamaican restaurant. I had to step away from there a little bit too, just to really.
Because you're spending a lot of time up there, from what I remember.
It was spending a lot of time up there, so had to step away from there to really just fully lock in, because I feel like I'm in a moment right now where I may not get back. Yeah. And it's like, I gotta capitalize on it. I gotta, give it everything.
You gotta ride the wave with the momentum. You can't let up. You just never know.
You never know. I can always go back and do other things I was doing again, but this moment in music and the momentum that I have right now, I got to capitalize on it.
Super important. Well, man, listen, this was a great conversation.
I appreciate you.
I really appreciate you coming through and hanging with me and talking about all your special moments that you've been oh so humble about. All right. So the lobby is coming soon. It is out exclusively on the platform called
Even.
Yeah. So go get that. Support my boy.
Yeah, Even.biz.
Yeah. So even if it comes up, no pun intended. Even when it comes out on DSPs, can people still go back and purchase it if they want to?
Yeah, for sure. The cool thing about Even is there's like different tiers. So like, there's one tier where you just get the music and some behind the scenes footage. There's another tier where you can get some merch from my brand, shopthehomies.com.
Yes, I have some of it. I need some more.
Yeah, I got you. That's true. And then there's just different tiers and different things you can get. So even if it comes out on all platforms, there's still a reason to go back there.
Go support, y'all.
Yeah.
Go support. The lobby dropping soon. The full-length project.
Yeah,
it's coming in June.
The live show in June as well. Doing a live show at the Virgil.
Oh, yes. I got to be there.
Yeah, for sure. I got you. Yeah, so it's good. It's a lot of good things going, a lot of good things in the works. It's gonna be really good.
Oh, man,
live show, you never know who you might see.
Yeah,
got a
lot of the homies.
A night with Mr. 365 and the homies is what we calling it. You just never know who gonna pop out. So
amazing, you never know. All right, guys, the playlist. My name is Kalisha. Dreebo over there.
Yeah.
The lobby out now exclusively, and the full length project coming at you soon, and the live show.
The cheat code.